now we are looking at the powerhouse, essentially, for the Call of Cthulhu, World's End, Yithian Lightning Cannon, Model 2. I think that's accurate, but I hear there's also various names for it. It might not be a lightning cannon, it might be a lightning gun, but this thing is definitely a cannon, the way we have built it. So, this, as far as I can tell, this is where all the kinetic energy is created for the lightning that's shooting out of this gun. No, we don't have real lightning. Do I want it? Yes. Would it kill people? Probably. So we can only emulate the lightning effects. A lot of glowing things, LED lights, L-wire, things like that are very safe to use, but you can get any of the glowing bits. This piece in particular was worrying us because what's supposed to happen as the power is generating, just in like standard mode, you see points of light that's glowing up, and it looks like it's moving just because the it's lighting up in a chain, and that pattern is moving around in a infinity symbol, in theory, charging this thing forever and ever, keeping it powered. As it's lighting up, you also have 3 lights that are constantly filling. It looks like it's, again, powering up, charging, and you have these lights that are constantly moving along with the figure 8 pattern. Then you have this, I believe it's this quadrant, is always filled with a white light. Hold down the trigger, start really super powering up this thing for the Mega Blast. This one fills up with blue light. This one fills up with blue light. This one, I believe, fills up with blue light, and then they all go red. Like, man, not only do we have to have blue lights, we have to have red lights. But it turns out that there is an LED light that has 3 colors in it. I believe it's like yellow, blue, and red, or I think you can even mix it up. So we're going to do that. You can control the lights. How do you get them to turn on and off? How do you control it that precisely? I've never used it, but I'm told an Arduino motor, Arduino control pad, something like that is what you need. Arduino, it's a keyword. You need that to tell the lights how to move, when to move, what the qualifications are, if this happens, and this, how you can precisely control that. So let me show you real quick. We've got the LED lights. They're not the fancy 3-color kind, but this is what they're looking like. Really tiny things, but they're going to blow up. They're going to glow very brightly. And they are really going to add some very nice effects to this thing. It's going to attract attention. You're going to have people wondering what in the world is glowing on the other side of the con. So, how do you mount the lights? What I came up with, my friend recommended it, foam board. I have some doubts about the foam board, but as you can see, we painted it black so that when it is inside the housing, you're not really going to see it. The lights are going to shine even brighter, and it's going to look like an empty cavernous thing rather than what we've got. So you can see I've got the toothpicks. They're marking where the LED lights go. I was told that was a bad idea because LED lights, have never worked with these, but this is the first time we're going to do it. They've got 2 tongs, 2 wires coming out of it, and they cannot touch. So I'm going to have to insulate one of these now because I've stuck a toothpick in. The foam board, if it wasn't covered in tons of coats of paint, you'd be able to stick the LED lights straight in, keep the tongs separated by the foam board, and they wouldn't be touching, wouldn't be a problem. Like I said, I've added too many layers of paint that it would break the metal wires at this point to shove these things in. So you see that this thing fits. One of the other things we had to consider, well, the fact that we wanted lights to glow in this thing. We could have very easily put a piece of wood, a piece of foam board, cardboard. We could have just made a box out of this. We could have painted the colors on. We could have painted everything, but I chose a clear material, very sturdy, almost like it's acrylic. And I think the trade name is Lexan. If you're going to Home Depot, Orchard, Lexan is the material you're looking for. I have fancy access to fancy machines. I know someone who works in a sign shop So he was actually, I had to convert this image to a vector format, so Adobe Illustrator is what I used, looking very closely at the details in the game, and made this image in Adobe Illustrator. And then we had the machine at the machine shop. I don't know, I haven't been in this shop, so I don't know what the tools are called, but his machine was able to carve out all the lines in the Lexan, in the acrylic, so you're not going to have fancy access to that, but we were thinking it'd give it like a more three-dimensional look. You'd have depth in the lighting. We also decided to, where these were all carved out, it made it very easy to paint in there to create boundaries and know that the lines are pretty much perfectly straight. So most people are probably going to have some difficulty working with the acrylic, finding tools that can cut it. There were some jigsaws that we used to cut acrylic, but it's a very slow process. It's not precise. You're going to have some issues with that. So the acrylic, it's a little bit frosted. We sprayed some clear spray paint on it so that it would disperse the light. The LEDs are very bright lights. I was also told wax paper, if you put wax paper on the inside of the acrylic, it will all help to disperse the light. So you're not seeing like a single pinprick of light. You're going to see a glow, an overall glow on the whole thing near where each light is, but there's so many lights that you're going to see it all over. So one of the other considerations was, how do we make the LED lights accessible? How do we make it so people can take them in and out, get this thing in and out of the casing? So we have mounted brackets on the inside, screws that hold it in place. I've also decided that probably the other side of this temple, I call it a temple, that's what it looks like, the other side of this temple is going to probably have Velcro on the bottom, and if you need quick access, if one of your lights breaks, or I don't think they'll break, but if you need to turn on the battery, that's probably the more likely situation. You have this in here, lights aren't on until you turn on the battery, which is probably underneath here, so swoop, turn on the battery, put this thing back on. Can't fit all the way because the toothpicks are everywhere because it's not done yet. Forgive me. But that's how it's going to go. So, in the end, you're going to have fully functional, awesome, glowing powerhouse for your Yithian Lightning Cannon Model 2.